For the second NLP demo, we need a model that's a little bit more complex. I'm going to enlist the help of a sentiment model that I had created. It's far from perfect, but generally it gets the job done. So if we go ahead and take a look at some sentences I've curated that I can pass into this sentiment detection model, you can see that there are a number of sentences here with the sentiment positive, negative, or neutral. And then you have the confidence score, which signals how accurate the model believed the outcome or the classification is. So just to go over a few sentences, I didn't like the film at all. It was a complete waste of time is a negative sentiment. And there's another one. One of the best movies I've ever watched. Highly recommend it. Positive with a confidence score of 99.9%. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a couple sentences. And we want to see what the difference is between these two sentences using Captum when we attempt to analyze how the model arrived at that particular result. And so you see two sentences here. The first one, an average experience, some good moments, but mostly boring. So correctly predicting a negative sentiment with a confidence of 98%. Then the second sentence, I don't know, the movie seemed pretty good to me. So this is very interesting. It came with a negative predicted sentiment with a confidence score of 70.6%. Clearly wrong. This should have been a positive sentiment. In the worst case, at least neutral. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Captum visualization in order to understand how we arrived at these two results. So the first one, where we correctly classified the sentence as negative, we can see the sentences, an average experience, some good moments, but mostly boring. So you can see here from the attribution score that most of the tokens represented a negative sentiment. Definitely a lot more on the negative side than on the positive side. Even though you had one word that was positive in nature with a larger attribution score, overall the sentence is negative, and it clearly reflects that. So for the second sentence, the one that was incorrectly classified as negative, you can see, I don't know, the movie seemed pretty good to me. So the issue here is you have too many words which have a negative attribution score, and it was more skewed in that direction. So you can see here there are a number of words that might be incorrectly classified based on the data set that we're providing. So the two biggest ones that stand out to me is good, which has a negative sentiment score, which is very interesting. And then the other one here is two. This one has a very large sentiment score, negative 0.04, and it's contributing a lot to this negative sentiment. Combined with the overall negative sentiment of the other words, pushed it into the negative sentiment classification side. So from what you can see here, you can probably conclude that there's some flaws within our data set, especially this 2 here, which is contributing such a heavy negative sentiment to the overall classification of this sentence. So here we see incorrect classification and how we can use Captum in order to help us debug and understand how it arrived at that conclusion.